Hi, everybody. My name is Liza Hausman. I'm the Vice President of Industry Marketing here at House. And as part of my role, I oversee all of our market research efforts. So really excited to bring some new research to you today. As you, I think, are all experiencing, our industry is pretty lucky. We're booming right now. You're likely turning down work or pushing start dates far into the future for new projects. And while this is great for you, our brand new research shows that homeowners care about some surprising things and are often disappointed or frustrated with several aspects of finding and then working with the pros that they hire. So in this webinar, we're going to show you what you need to do if you want this current boom in homeowner interest and the associated projects to turn into more leads and more high quality referrals that will really keep you busy for years to come. One note, as you guys probably see, there's a panel and a questions section. We are going to do a Q&A at the end, so please do drop your questions in as they come up, and we will try to get to them at the end. If we don't get to them at the end, we will absolutely follow up with you after this webinar and make sure they get answered. So thank you so much, and thanks for taking the time to be here today. So I wanted to kind of quickly just reinforce this, busy concept with some of the findings from our most recent Q2 2021 House Renovation Barometer. If you're not familiar with it, it tracks residential renovation market expectations, project backlogs, and recent activity. We have a panel of about 5,000 pros on House that consistently give us feedback on what's happening with their businesses across many different industries. And we basically look at this on a scale of 1 to 100. And when you see a value over 50, that really indicates that a greater proportion of firms are reporting quarter-over-quarter increases in activity, or whatever the characteristic is, than decreases. So this first chart is our recent business activity indicator related to project inquiries and new committed projects. I'm showing the construction sector here, and you can see that it increased significantly to 73 in Q1, and that's again based on recent business compared to 62 in Q4. In the architecture and design sector, that also increased to 75 in Q1 compared to 64 in Q4 of 2020. So we're really seeing firms reporting a big increase in recent business activity. In terms of expected business activity and what's going forward, also related to project inquiries and new committed projects, this increased to 73 in Q2 compared to 70 in Q1. So still seeing growth in expected business for this quarter. On the architectural and design front, similarly increased to Q4 compared to 68 in Q1. So an even bigger increase on the design side. And finally, our project backlog indicator, which I think is maybe the most interesting one and easiest to get your head around. But in the construction sector, right, the backlog in terms of how long it will be when a new project comes in to when a professional can start it, that increased to 9.3 weeks nationally at the start of Q2, up from 7.4. And on the architectural and design side, that increased to 8.4 weeks. So we're seeing very, very large backlogs, and we really are seeing that across all regions of the US. And what does all this mean, and what are the key factors that go into this? Well, we're obviously the ad hoc factors that we're seeing in this last year were the pandemic, presidential elections, the overall economy, changes in tariffs and interest rates, and of course the long-standing issues that we all see with product and material availability and prices, the skilled labor shortages, lots of changes in the weather. Obviously we're seeing much wetter conditions on the East Coast and drier conditions on the West Coast, natural disasters, and again tariffs on the long-term side as well. And we're actually seeing this in our data as well. As you're seeing here, yellow is the conditions that are worsening, and you're really seeing here across all different segments of professionals that we survey: architects, designers, builders, design build firms, and specialty firms, landscape firms. The expected change in labor availability and labor cost, all are expecting that to worsen as we move into 2021 versus 2020. And similar numbers when you're looking at product and material availability and costs as well. So again, everyone's expecting this to worsen. So our homeowner research, really looked at the entire virtuous cycle pros go through with homeowners, from finding, how do homeowners find companies to consider, vetting them, how do they decide who they want to contact, hiring, what goes into the hiring decision, the project itself, what would make it better, and finally recommending, what can companies do to ensure that they're getting those recommendations and referrals. So we surveyed actually more than 900 homeowners who are planning, in the middle of, or who completed a renovation within the last 2 years. And you can see the breakdown here, fairly evenly split, but 50% of them actually had completed a project in the last 2 years, and these were major projects. And so I wanted to start with kind of the early stages of the project, pre-project. And one of the key takeaways from our research of pre-project homeowner activity is that online credibility really matters, no matter where your leads are coming from. And this was one of our more surprising findings. So it turns out that more than 3 in every 5 homeowners who are relying on recommendations from personal sources, so referrals, friends and family, they're still telling us that a pro's online presence is a very important factor in their decision to contact and interview a professional. So they may have gotten a recommendation, but they are still going and checking you out online. So if you aren't already, you should be thinking about the content on your website, your house profile, or other online touch points, your social sites, as a place not just to be discovered, but actually as a place where homeowners are validating the other input they may have heard about you from another, channel, the friend, the family, the ad, wherever they may have first found you. They're doing that due diligence online. Now, once you've made that shortlist, that homeowner shortlist, we also wanted to better understand what's important to homeowners when they're making that hiring decision. The first thing we saw, again, was online presence. For years, I've been talking to our professional community about this as quote unquote nice stalking. And you've all done it when hiring a new employee or reading about a product you're interested in. You want as much information as possible before reaching out. And we know homeowners can spend up to a year planning and saving for a project before moving forward. So they're building their idea book, saving pros, project photos, reading reviews, so that when they're ready to reach out, they really feel armed with information. So we like to think about that online presence really as kind of your digital storefront, right? And as you walk down the street, which windows look enticing to go into and what draws you in. And so really want to think about your online presence as, is that display window encouraging people to want to learn more? And also once they come in, can they easily find the information that they need? What do they care about the most? Online reviews, examples of projects with similar scope and size, business profile on House or another site, and also your website are all very important factors in their decision to contact and interview. And within that, reviews actually takes top billing as the most important. Homeowners who want to check your references online, even if they go on to call anyway. And we always like to say, put yourself in your client's shoes. You know what questions they ask when you first meet or speak with them. So make sure you're answering those same questions on your website and profile. Now, why should these homeowner concerns matter to you? You're busy, everybody's busy right now. There's a ton of demand, and it's easy to say it doesn't matter that much, but you could be missing out on so much more that you do care about. Could be better clients, project quality, or nicer people, more choice of projects, better pipeline, and really to think about those things now and for them to continue once things do slow down. So you're probably asking yourself, all right, how do I know how I'm doing? Is my online presence helping convince the clients referred to me, or even those who find me organically or through advertising or other means? Or is it helping them to reach out? And that's exactly the right question to ask. And so to help our pro community find opportunities to make an impact, we've developed something called the Online Impact Score, which I'm going to walk you through. So we basically, created this score, and it's certainly not a perfect or comprehensive score. It's really meant to be helpful and directional. We focused on where House particularly has expertise, and that's your house profile and websites. We don't have social sites included in here, but the same types of criteria definitely apply and you can use to evaluate. And we included things that are specific to your website. So we actually went out and crawled the websites of all the pros who have a website linked on Houzz, and we only have a score for those that do have a website linked, to basically evaluate some key factors. One is that it's error-free, that crawl didn't return any missing pages or missing content, that the site is secure and built on SSL, that it's mobile-friendly and has responsive design, that the pages load quickly, that there's an easy contact form for homeowners to use to get in touch, that it's built on some sort of site platform, whether that's whether you're getting your website through Houzz or you're on another website platform, but that it's kind of built on really leading technology. And then also some of the key things that homeowners are looking for these days. Does your website include video media, for example? And then for your Houzz profile, we looked at both your reviews on Houzz and the overall strength of your profile to go into the score. Now the score benchmarks, kind of what you'd expect. We did it on a scale of 0 to 100. The average across all professional categories is 50, actually 50.4. Interior designers and kitchen and bath designer categories had the highest average scores at 57. And what we tried to do is not only provide you your score, but provide you with benchmarks for that score. So how do you get your score? Well, it's pretty easy. If you're logged into your Houzz account and you go into Insights within Houzz Pro, you can scroll down and you will see the online impact score listing there for you. It'll show you your score, and it'll show you the average score for the top 10% of pros in your category, so you have a benchmark. And it really will detail out whether there are any concerns with your website that you may want to address, as well as opportunities for improvement with your Houzz profile. And we are offering free consultations. It's very easy to schedule a consultation right from there. So if you want to talk to someone on our team about each of these elements for your particular website or Houzz profile, we're happy to talk to you about that. And I also wanted to just touch quickly on the website side of things. If for any reason, you're paying a lot for your website, or you're not happy with your website, or you're concerned about its performance, we've totally overhauled our new website building platform. It's completely do it for you. So we do all the work to get it built, to host it, to make sure it's SEO friendly and secure. So if that's a need, again, schedule a consultation and someone would be happy to demo how our website services work going forward. So once you're armed to use your online presence to get the clients you want to reach out and contact you, we also wanted to look at what happens after you've been hired. What are the factors that, yes, had the biggest impact on hiring decisions, but also, kind of beyond your online presence. So what other touch points, what other interactions are homeowners concerned with? And then what are the biggest challenges homeowners face when working with pros? Because, really being able to win on both of these fronts will not only help you win more jobs, but drive more word of mouth referrals and great reviews for the long run. Some of the factors that homeowners reported in our research were very important to their hiring decisions. 2 out of 3 said communication and organizational skills, pricing or a bid that's easy to understand, and the speed of receiving a proposal or estimate were all factors, again, outside of online presence that were very important to those hiring decisions. Now, some of the other factors that impact a homeowner's decision to hire were availability, and obviously everyone knows that's a big factor these days and not something that you can necessarily control. Personality, and also experience with projects like theirs, and that's one reason having a portfolio available on your website and business profiles really helps them see whether you have the capability to do the type of project that they're looking for. One of the ways that we wanted to dig into, once you're working with a professional, what are the challenges that homeowners have? What are they looking for? What are the things that drive referrals? And so we asked homeowners in our survey who were either in the midst of or who had completed a major renovation project, what's the one thing that would have most improved your experience? And so what I'm going to share with you here are some of the verbatim responses that they gave us in the survey and some of the ways to think about addressing them. So the first is really general communication. Some of the things we heard, I felt a disconnect from my project. There wasn't enough communication, or the one thing that would have helped most was a weekly check-in with a video walkthrough, being able to see what was happening on my project. Or we heard, fairly frequently, it would have been helpful to have a single point of contact. I received conflicting information from different team members, and sometimes they didn't know what the other team member was doing. So again, communication top response for what would have most improved their project. Some of the recommendations and best practices that we have is, is there one source of truth for all your client communications that you, or if you have team members, can all refer to? Illustrating some of these with our software, our House Pro software. But is there one central place where you can see a history of all the communications, where you can see what other team members have sent, what you have sent, and even just from a kind of protecting yourself standpoint, having a great place where you can refer and see where decisions have been made, so that you know that everybody is saying the same thing, and you can go back and see what was agreed to in your communications. Another thing is, can clients access key information at any time? So, one of the things that we've had great feedback on from both homeowners and professionals is the client dashboard, and having that as a tool to be able to let clients log in and really be able to get the information when they need it. So be able to go back and see, hey, how much money is owed, what's going on with timing, and really have access to that, and not necessarily have to call you or ask you every time they need an update. And that can be really helpful, again, to give them more comfort and build their confidence. The other things that came up regarding communication was really about scheduling, and this was a big pain point for homeowners. So they really wanted, better communication regarding delays, whether those delays were caused by, external factors, could be product delays, could be city permitting issues, but general communication regarding delays. One thing that they said would have helped most was, having some sort of timing flow, even an estimate of what that whole project schedule would look like. And then overall better communication on timeline and completion date. So again, hearing all of that. And then also related to schedule, just knowing, what's happening in the coming days. When would workers be at their home? When should they expect folks to show up and for work to be completed? So again, on a best practice side, ask yourself, how are you proactively communicating timelines and changes? This is a top thing for homeowners to better understand and get comfortable. Having a Gantt chart, and again, this is something that's built into the House Pro tool, but being able to have a Gantt chart and a calendar that homeowners can go to and look and see when key activities are happening, and key milestones happen as well. These are all things that can really help build confidence, ensure that the project's going to go smoothly, and have homeowners feel good about their process with you, which again is going to drive referrals. Another thing on this was, do clients know what they're responsible for, right? Often there are dependencies in a project for clients to make decisions. And one of the things that we've built into the House Pro software is task management, and tasks that you can assign to yourself, but also tasks that you can assign to team members or clients, and have them show up on that timeline and calendar so that homeowners know, hey, they've got to make these finished choices, or they need to make other selections or other key decisions, or even move out in order for projects to move forward, and do they know where those dependencies are? Another big area that came up was on the visualization side. When we asked, again, what's that one thing that would most have improved your project? Folks asked for, CAD or more digital instead of hand-drawn graphics to understand what's going on with the projects, but overall improved graphics for visual presentations. They wanted some sort of tool or way to see a visual of the finished product or project, and to make sure it's what they want. And I think a lot of sometimes getting homeowners to pull the trigger really depends on their getting comfortable with what the finished project's going to look like. And most homeowners don't really have the same skills that you have to be able to really understand what it's going to look like when it's done. And so having tools to be able to give them that confidence, not only makes them feel better, but is more likely to get them to pull the trigger on a project. And here you can see people said, yeah, what would help most is I want to feel more confident about the process and the outcome. So one of the things we're most excited about and we're hearing a lot about is the 3D floor planner that we have built into House Pro. What I hear most, and I was just talking to a kitchen and bath designer the other day, is that this tool is really helping her not only build confidence with clients with what her vision for the project is, but it's also a lot easier to upsell them on something that maybe involves moving a wall or an upgrade on an appliance or a countertop or actually putting in an island. It's much easier when they can see what the finished project is going to look like and what the space will look like for them to be able to pull the trigger on those upgrades. Similarly with mood boards, again, hearing from pros that these are the types of things that make it easier to sell in those product selections. Whatever tool you're using, right, you don't underestimate the visual side of this and how much it really helps clients to get comfortable. The next set of feedback we had on what was the one thing that would help the most was getting detailed estimates and proposals. People really wanted to have all the details written into the quotes and contract, knowing in advance about the things they needed to take into consideration, more communication and clearer, more accurate estimates. Somebody said I would have liked the designer to go through the recommended materials list line by line to explain everything in the quote and to confirm the finishes. And finally, forcing the contractor to define every aspect of our scope of work in the final contract. So people really, they don't want just kind of a high-level breakout. They really want to see the details. It's a big expenditure typically for them. And again, this is something that builds confidence. So again, whatever tools you're using, you want to make sure your estimates are clear and detailed, that all the line items are there, that it looks professional, and that homeowners can see what they're getting. Again, these are things that help them pull the trigger and build their confidence in you and how the project is going to go going forward. Same thing on the proposal side. They make it clear what they're getting for their investment. Can they see visuals of all the products and what they're going to be paying for, and really make it easy for them to see all of the details. And then along these lines of sort of, transparency is really financial clarity. And I like to differentiate between financial clarity and transparency because obviously as professionals, you're not necessarily going to be transparent about everything, especially if you're doing some markups. But financial clarity, so how are homeowners going to be able to see exactly what they're getting for their money? So they wanted more financial transparency before, during, and after the project. In the budget, they wanted an easier way to see the budget and time frame as they change. Communications with the costs of the project and any changes along the way. And just a realistic and complete budget. So you can see there the finances have been stressful, and it's definitely a painful point for a lot of folks. When they don't feel confident about surprises that may come up in a project. And finally, I really didn't understand the overall financial commitment, and at times felt like I didn't want to bother my designer, although she is quite nice. So I think this kind of shows people are uncomfortable talking about money. So the more that you can kind of put anything that you're communicating about financials into a document and a clear document rather than necessarily having to talk about it, that's going to give people much more comfort to be able to go in and ask questions and understand what's happening. One of the things that we've added recently that also helps is for estimates and proposals is to include a payment schedule. So that could include a deposit or a retainer, but really being able to lay out the payment schedule for clients as the project is going to unfold is a great way, again, to provide that type of financial clarity of what they're going to owe and when. And similarly, if you're on a construction side and there are change orders, being able to put that into a formal process, make sure you're getting an e-signature for those types of things, make sure that everyone is going to be aligned and on the same page for the entire project. And again, give your client that confidence that not only are you on top of things, but that they can go in at any time and see where they stand. And finally, payment ease. We heard a lot from homeowners that They just don't want to deal with paper checks. Obviously, things the post office has been questionable at best lately, so they want to be able to have their pros take credit cards or to be able to pay online, even if it's a bank transfer, and just for that to be more convenient, especially during COVID, not being able to have to hand something off physically in person. So, just thinking through what payment options do you offer. Obviously, there are many things that are available today. We have credit cards and bank transfers kind of built into the House Pro tool. And one of the things that we found kind of as a best practice is, are you communicating the cost of convenience? So if there is a fee associated with credit cards or bank transfers, then you can actually position that as a convenience fee to clients, and they're certainly very familiar with being able to do that when they transact online. So just want to kind of wrap it up with, how do you find the win-win that, from start to finish with homeowners, from when they start to look for pros, vet them, hire them, work with you, and then, close the loop to recommending, how do you make this a win-win for you and for your clients? And we all know clients can be difficult and demanding. I've been a client many times, and I also know the challenges of managing them from talking to so many of you over the years. I mean, how many of you have had this experience, right, where messages are coming in not at the times that you can necessarily deal with them? Well, the good news is, some of the feedback we got is that clients want you to use technology. And yes, there are still clients out there that are not comfortable with it, but it came up quite a bit in our survey responses from homeowners, and it really can make things better for everyone. So, what are some of the best practices? Make centralized online tracked communication integral to providing a great customer experience, and also your team's safety net. When you have a history of the communications, then you can always point to decisions made and homeowner agreements, and feel comfortable, and they can feel comfortable that that we're not digging through emails to try to find out what happened in the past. Use tech tools to more easily and proactively communicate the impact of changes on project schedules. So again, there's great tech tools out there, including House Pro, for creating Gantt charts and really being able to show project schedules and the impact of changes. Put visual tools to work. Again, we're just seeing an overwhelming response from homeowners to being able to see 3D models of their projects. It's really helping pros close business, upsell clients, and build their confidence in the outcome. And then make financial clarity. Again, it doesn't have to be full transparency, but make financial clarity a fundamental part of your operation and at every stage of the project. So from the proposals to final payments, you really want to build this into your business operations. And we're seeing that it really helps pros increase profits as well as client satisfaction. And finally, offer clients the convenience of online payments. Use convenience fee positioning if they want those credit card points. There's a way to pass along those costs, but they're really looking for more convenient ways to pay you online. So with that, I want to jump into Q&A. If you aren't using tools like this, we just want to let you know that it's easy to start a free trial of House Pro, or you can email our team at local@house.com if you want to get more information, or go and check out your impact score, and it's easy to set up some time. So what questions do we have out there? Any questions about the data or the research? I'd be happy to answer them. So let's see, we've got Linda asking what features are there in the 3D tool. It's actually a pretty full-featured tool. Believe it or not, there's a scanner in the app, so you can actually go to a home, open up the mobile app, and take measurements using the room scanner. That'll automatically create a 2D floor plan that you can manipulate from your desktop computer or laptop computer, and then turn that into 3D model. And we actually just released a full kitchen suite, so many more options for cabinetry. There's actually countertops, edge details, so you can choose bullnose, or many other options, farmhouse sinks, appliances, faucets, and many other things involved with building a kitchen. And we're continuing, we've got more features coming out next month for other rooms in the house. Let's see, what else do we have in here? What data goes into the estimates? So I think this is a question about estimation templates, but one of the ways to kind of get that we're hearing that pros are getting estimates and proposals out faster is to kind of leverage the templates that we have. You can use our pre-populated templates, and we kind of have an external data source that we use to get local costs for labor and materials. And we also provide templates by room that you can customize. And so that makes it much easier. We're hearing that it can, take minutes for an estimate to go out once a template is built and in place. And so that really speeds things along. So many different options there for that. All right, let's see what else. I think Matt has a question here. Just about the homeowner research in general. Are we doing more of this homeowner research? Yes. One of the things that we're seeing as we spend a lot more time these days talking to pros kind of about project management is that we want to better understand like where those pain points are for homeowners as well as pros and find other ways to close the gap. Okay, here we've got another question just about the scheduling piece of it and how that works. Can you integrate your calendar? Yes, you can integrate your calendar with House Pro in the scheduling tool. One thing I want to tell you is that homeowners cannot see your calendar. When you integrate your calendar, it just has key milestones appear on your calendar. But don't worry, if you integrate your calendar with House Pro, it's never visible to homeowners. It's just helpful for you. And it allows you to more easily schedule meetings, work with tasks, and set milestones. And that scheduling tool, it's completely flexible. So if you're using the Gantt chart, you can add any timeline and milestones at whatever detail you want. And we also have it a master view. So you can create a per project Gantt chart, but then we also have a master view so that you can see what key milestones are coming up. And what are the kind of key project activities across all of your projects. All right, I think those are all the questions we have time for today. Thanks you guys for spending the time with me today, and we'd love to hear your feedback. So please send it anytime. You can reach me, Liza at House, at any time, and we look forward to seeing you in our next session. Thank you.